All right, ladies and gentlemen, JML here, Charlie.
Yo,
This is the Chamber Pod, weekly verdict. We are recording this on a Thursday. This episode will be coming out on Saturday. So if we miss any news, sorry. Sorry. Personal lives happen, personal lives matter, mental health matters. That is my PSA to start the show. Charlie, take it away.
so this week in wrestling, not much has happened. We're going to go over a few topics that have happened throughout the week, including Sasha Banks' first post WWE appearance, which I find ridiculous at how much she's charging, but JML would pay.
You damn right.
Jim Ross.
Jim Ross recently has been coming out at the 9 o'clock hour of Dynamite to do commentary. He's comparing himself to the greatest closer in the history of professional baseball, Mariano Rivera. We'll deep dive into that.
And Swerve in Our Glory winning the tag team championships on this past Dynamite.
So that's the hot topics on the docket for today. I want to go right into this Mariano Rivera comparison for good old JR here. The article I'm referencing is on WrestleZone, WrestleZone.com. Good old reliable WrestleZone.com. I've been going to the site since I was like 14, 15.
I remember that was my first site for spoilers on SmackDown.
So Ross, apparently he made these comments on his podcast, Grilling JR, to explain why Tony Khan made a creative decision to boost things and how it benefits him and AEW Rampage. Well, that was a Tony Khan decision. Creatively, I was coming out before the show, and I was doing all of Dynamite, and the reception was humbling. They were glad to see me, and they expressed themselves, and the reception has been really good. So he thought in the middle of the show, Dynamite needed a boost. So JR became the booster. I love Jim Ross. I think he's the greatest commentator ever. Just my personal opinion. I don't know where you stand. But to say he's a booster, what kind of booster? To the live crowd or the ratings? I don't think he's boosting the ratings by coming on at the 9 o'clock hour. I haven't seen that. So to compare yourself to Mariano Rivera, Mariano Rivera got the job done more often than not, sealed the deal. The ratings for AEW have been stagnant, whether Jim Ross commentates for 2 hours on Dynamite or he commentates 1 hour on Dynamite. Charlie, what do you think about these comments?
It's not the first time JR has gone off the deep end in recent memory with comments. I also happen to think that he's put on just 1 hour because of said comments that he's made, getting him in trouble. Maybe they want less is more with him. Because he's getting old and senile. You know that as well as I do. And he says some things like that don't fly in this era when he's on top.
He continued to say on the podcast, I came out in the middle of the show, still going to call the main event or main events, however it's going to work out. Then we all take a bathroom break for the crew and so forth. And we go right into taping Rampage. Of course, Rampage airs on Friday nights on TNT. As we know, Dynamite is a TBS show. Airs at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, primetime live. I love that. So I said it's only an hour, so it's kind of like doing an old school wrestling show, which is what it is. So I like that deal. I didn't have any issues with it at all. I'm like legendary New York Yankees closer, Mariano Rivera. I'm going in for relief. We're going to get some results for you. What results? JR, what results? That you're going to be on Rampage
Also,
doing commentary?
that's taking a giant crap on the announcers that do the first hour.
Like, hey, when you guys are struggling through the first hour of the show, I'll come in and be Superman.
Yeah.
So that's the deal there. Just keeping me fresh and special, quote unquote. Trying to give Rampage a boost commentary wise. We need to get the ratings up, which we are. So that's the reason for that. No problem with me whatsoever. I get more exposure now than I was before because I wasn't on Rampage. This is like a meet like he thinks so highly of himself.
Yeah.
He hasn't moved the needle at all.
Rampage, I'm sure, isn't pulling in that great of
No.
ratings, right?
No.
And
No.
the second hour doesn't move at all
No.
on Dynamite?
No.
Okay.
I like Taz on commentary better, to be honest.
At
This point.
least Taz admits when he botches a line.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I guess we'll just keep with the AEW theme. Keith Lee, there was a tweet, kind of cryptic one. I don't have it in front of me, but something like, I may or may not. Actually, it seemed like he wasn't going to wrestle last night. Tony Khan then stepped in and said yesterday, no, Keith's still going to be on the show. There's been some issues with Keith Lee, some, health issues, rumblings of his mercurial behavior. He's clearly not in the best shape. And I think that's why he's in a tag team rather than being solo. So I think he's getting gassed in the ring. For all those people, and I'm going to lump myself into them, including me, who thought this guy was going to be the next superstar. He's kind of fumbled his own path to superstardom along the way. I thought it was just WWE, but this pattern is continuing in AEW, where when he first comes to AEW, he's in good shape. Then as a month goes by, he's not in good shape anymore. Then you have rumblings that, he's not the most liked person in the locker room, or he's not very easy to get along with. But then again, these are rumors. I'm not backstage to know. He could be the sweetest dude in the world. Who knows? Maybe he's just misunderstood. But at this time in his career, to be as heavily sought after as he was, to be in a tag team, it looks like a career downturn for him. What's your thoughts here?
I agree with what you said. He's showing the same behaviors that he did in WWE. Like you said, we aren't backstage to know how he acts in the locker room. He could be a douche. He could be the nicest guy on earth.
We don't know what's going on in his personal life other than he had the heart thing with the COVID.
Yeah, they said also it could be family happenings that he wasn't there.
Yeah, they said that. So he cut a promo after winning the AEW tag title last night with Swerve that a friend of 34 years has cancer or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Which prayers go out. But let's take that out of the equation. Keith Lee has been a big disappointment, and he's been a big disappointment since he debuted on the main roster in WWE. And you could say what you want, but when he debuted in WWE, they put him over clean. They put him over Orton.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they changed his music. They changed his appearance slightly, right? They changed some things that fans got annoyed by. But they were trying to push him. He got hurt. He didn't recover. He came back. He thought he was going to get that spot again, and he didn't. It seemed like the office just didn't like him. He was mercurial. It seems like in AEW, the same pattern is following him. Whether or not Tony Khan's ever going to admit to it remains to be seen.
And as we were talking off screen, it can't be anything but a downfall in his career, even if he did win tag team championships, because seemingly that's going to be a
transitional
tag team championship victory.
Yeah, because the rumor mill has begun that this tag team title change was made due to the Young Bucks not wanting to put FTR over. So now, at the next pay-per-view here, All Out, we're probably going to get FTR going over, whether it's a straight tag match or they do another, triple threat tag match. But I don't know. Why do the Young Bucks think they're better than what they actually are?
Because they're still young and they're co-owners of AEW, and they probably just have ego problems for all that they have done.
The Bucks are just a combination of the Rockers, the Hardys, and the Usos.
I don't see the Usos, but
the Super Kicks.
Okay.
But not done as well as those three teams. Another thing, while we're on the topic of AEW, Christian Cage, the best heel in the business.
Yep.
What he said to Brian Pillman Jr., oh my God. I'm not even going to repeat it. You guys go check the clips on YouTube. The dude's on a whole nother level. He might be my superstar of the year. He doesn't even have to wrestle. Incredible. And that's on AEW, the product that, me and Charlie just shit all over all the time, right? So. Oh, what about this one? Goldberg reflects on accidentally ending Bret Hart's career. I've apologized. I'm sure he'll never forgive me. Oh, Captain Obvious. You think he's ever going to... No, he's not going to forgive you. No. So I guess we'll leave off with this whole Sasha Banks taking outside convention appearances. This is good for her business. She's going to make a lot of money. And people are going to want to see her. Obviously, you don't at $70. I think
$70. I paid get most for Sasha Banks.
I paid $100 for Brett. I would pay $70 for Sasha. The only thing that bothers me is it more valuable to get her signature as Sasha Banks or Mercedes Fernando? Like, what is she going to use outside of, like, is she going to, like, she can't use Sasha Banks. I don't think she owns it.
Probably not.
So when she's signing, is she going to sign Mercedes or she's signing?
I bet the Sasha Banks autographs will go up in value.
Collectors grab them while they're hot. But it says that she's not going to take bookings. Wait, hold on. Let me pull it up. She'll be in Chicago next month, so start the AEW rumor mill for her, right? Because anytime someone appears in Chicago, it's like, oh, she's going to be attached to AEW. All her stuff is out of the shop. She's going to be filming more Star Wars. I saw another. Oh, here it is. Fightful is reporting that many wrestling convention promoters have reached out about bringing her in, but they were told she is only taking non-wrestling related bookings until January 1st, 2023. In addition, it was noted that other convention promoters reached out to Fernando's representatives and were given a firm specific rate to book her. So it looks like she wants to take time off from wrestling and possibly jump back in 2023. Where do we think she ends up?
AEW.
I think that's an awful decision for her.
Where do you see her ending up?
I mean, it's only going to be AEW at this point. It's a two company show at this point. Like, what is she going to do? She's going to go to Impact?
No, she's beyond that.
Ring of Honor is owned by Tony Khan. So, unless she goes back to WWE, she's going to have to go to unless there's another person that steps up and builds a company. There's a lot of talent out there that they're not attached to long-term contracts and could start another company. I mean, I guess NWA is still out there, but I can't see her wrestling for NWA or them having the money to pay her as well. So, yeah, she'll probably find her way into AEW. I just hope they don't overexpose her. I think with a lot of these people, less is more. One of the problems they've had was with CM Punk. We didn't need to see CM Punk every week. I think WWE does
It was nice too.
But like WWE does the right thing. Like Brock Lesnar feels special when he appears. They're doing the same thing with Roman. Like when Roman wrestles, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? Because he doesn't wrestle all the time. They do that with Cena. They don't like Sasha Banks coming in. She's clearly would be the biggest name on the roster, male or female. Should be up there. She would challenge Punk for like marquee name. You don't think so?
Maybe I don't see it as much as everyone else does, but Sasha Banks to be up there as high as Punk.
Yeah.
She's good, but she's no CM Punk.
I would argue that AEW signing Sasha Banks would move the needle more than Punk in the long term.
Yeesh.
Because she would solidify a division that has been not so great. It's had its peaks and valleys. She would be the alpha dog of the women's division. She wouldn't have to wrestle all the time. She wouldn't have to make all these appearances. You have her only at the big shows. She can wrestle Jade, Britt, Thunder Rosa, right? Because the talent pool is so shallow that if they give her a CM Punk like role where she's on every show, she's gonna roll through the entire roster of females,
Yeah.
and then she's gonna become stale. So if they sign her, she should only wrestle the big shows. And that's it. I don't want to see her in tag matches. I don't want to see her in, any kind of chicanery. Just come out, maybe cut a promo every so often. Like, do what Roman's doing.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Make her a special attraction.
Because no one in the company in AEW feels special.
No.
That's my thoughts. Weekly verdict. Episode 2. Charlie, anything you want to leave off with?
As always, thank you for our 340 subscribers. Please like, share, reply, comment, subscribe to our videos. Wow.
Yes. Well, subscribe to our channel. And we will have, if we can get at least 10 comments on this episode, I will do a comment picker, and that person will be entered into a duck race to win a giveaway at the end of the month. So, just comment. And that's all you have to do. It's free. It's free to comment. It's free to subscribe and tell a friend. We love you guys. Thank you so much. And as usual, good night and good luck. Peace. Breaking news. So juicy. We already recorded an entire episode of non-big news so we can have a news show for the week. But, as soon as we stopped recording, took about 30 minutes for ourselves. This broke, and we had to come back on and record this portion of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, the PG era of WWE is over. Starting next Monday, WWE is back to TV 14. Charlie, your thoughts?
I'll start this off with an exclamatory shit. This is awesome. I wonder, it's so funny because off camera before, when we were discussing the route that we were going to go and watching Back in Times from now on, JML was like, yeah, let's just skip 95 and go to the Attitude Era. And then this news breaks the same day that he wants to go back to the Attitude Era. It's something else.
Call me Nostradamus. Call me one with the world. Call me the man who knows it all. Actually, I don't know it all. I just sense these things. And it's a great time to do it, considering the person that's on the horizon as a free agent. And this just came to my mind. This person will be available sooner rather than later. And what a perfect time to bring this guy into the fold. Who am I thinking of?
Who are you thinking of?
Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
That would be amazing.
And
you could pull him in during this time. I can only imagine the promos.
Who else is a free agent?
Who are you thinking?
Uncle Bray.
He is. He most certainly is. And he could do some maniacal shit underneath the TV 14.
And we've had these vignettes with Edge with this darker character. This could be the shot in the arm that WWE needs. You know how many times I say WWF now because of our...
Plus you got Triple H and Stephanie running the show now, so all bets are off.
Scantily clad women? Are we going to get that again?
What was it? What's the lesbian
HLA.
lesbian action?
Well, we don't have to be that gratuitous. I'm just talking about, a little bit more midriff, maybe. I don't know. But overall, I mean, the whole Dana Brooke and that storyline where she was gonna marry the dude, but then the Reginald, like that was so PG. If that was done like next week, they could do so much more. They could do so much more. Um, and this is the direction it needs to go. I mean, I think the edginess is back in America, right? In this country, you have it is.
You still got your fair share of snowflakes,
You
but
still have cancel culture and you still have snowflakes, but you have Barstool Sports, you have the Nelk Boys, you have hell, you got Logan Paul who's coming into WWE, right? You
um,
have,
really,
you know, social influencers, content creators with, edgy content. Why wouldn't WWE want to go that route?
true.
It,
It's crazy to think. It's crazy to think. Like an hour and a half ago, me and you were scraping the bottom of the barrel, looking for things to talk about this week on the weekly verdict, and now this huge bombshell drops, taking us back to our childhood of growing up watching the Attitude Era. Do you think Triple H is going to hit the ground running on this one?
I think Triple H right now is chomping at the bit to bring back or bring in some new talent. I do think he played a huge role in Cody coming back to WWE. When Cody goes out of his way to say, my all time favorite wrestler is Triple H, there had to be a heavy Triple H influence to get
Oh yeah,
Cody back. I mean, obviously, Vince, smoothed him as well, but I think with the current state of AEW and how their roster is so bloated, this move to TV 14, these guys who wanted more edgy content that went over to AEW or signed with AEW, they may now reconsider their thoughts on making a move to WWE. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, like they can literally just pick off people one by one. And how is AEW going to compete?
yeah. Can you imagine the things that are going to come out of Theory's mouth? I could see him being a young, brash, edgy
Orton.
superstar. Oh, well, Orton. They need to bleep Orton whenever he's in the ring. But
No, I'm saying, remember when Orton was his age in the Legend Killer gimmick?
oh yeah, yeah.
Uh, FTR. Can you imagine FTR going back to WWE now with a TV 14?
Listen, they're accomplishing everything they possibly can. I wouldn't doubt a comeback to WWE after they've gotten enough accolades I keep calling them Impact at AEW.
I can actually imagine the Pinnacle, every member of the Pinnacle, including Wardlow, going to WWE.
Wardlow's homegrown talent. You think he'd jump?
Money talks.
Yeah.
Also, look at the way that Cody was presented at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
They've already made it clear if something's working somewhere else, we're not going to F with it. We'll keep it.
Yeah.
So, with this move to TV 14, I think they're just going all in on, hey, you know what? The locker room wants a little bit more freedom. Our writers want a little bit more freedom. Our audience wants to see a little bit more edginess, a little bit more freedom. Let's give it to them. What do they have nothing to lose?
No,
Regardless of the
absolutely
switch,
not.
WWE is always going to be the number one wrestling promotion. It will never ever be number two.
Absolutely.
The
Which
worst the worst thing that can happen is this doesn't work out and they revert back to PG. But by all measures, I think this will work out swimmingly for this time.
with Triple H and Stephanie running things this time around.
Yes, but Vince is still a part of creative, whether we like it or not. But he's probably more on board with it now because he sees, hey, my personal life has some edge to it. That right? Screw it. Let's just make an edgier. Let's go back to what brought us new fans.
Did it say whose decision this was?
No.
Okay.
Obviously the network has to be, or the networks have to be, involved as well.
And also, is it only Raw going over to TV 14, or is it SmackDown also?
Just Raw.
Okay.
I haven't seen anything about the SmackDown, but I'm sure Fox wouldn't mind shifting SmackDown to 14. Can you imagine Roman TV 14?
Oh man. I mean, he's not going to be here much longer, but
Well, we'll sidebar right now.
yeah,
I think Roman Reigns, he's the GOAT of this era. There's no question the GOAT of the last 8 or 9 years. By far. Decade. 2012, 2022, he dominates that decade.
granted, the beginning of it was him being shoved down our throats. With what he's accomplished in the last 5 years, I'd say that's enough to accept the first 5 years.
The fact in his second or third year, he was already considered a locker room leader speaks volumes of the person that Roman Reigns is and the prowess that he has. I think he's still underappreciated. And when he does leave, people are going to be, man, I really miss that guy. Because it's going to be a void. But hopefully by the time he is out, they have built new stars like a Theory. Like if they get an MJF, we have a Riddle, we have Seth Rollins. Now with an TV 14, some of these guys might get more over than you think. Riddle now could probably just smoke marijuana on camera. Who the fuck knows with TV 14? Right? They're going all in.
Pun intended.
Pun intended. They say that they don't consider AEW competition, which is halfway true. But I think they get annoyed by AEW. There's an annoyance that, hey, like when you have a fly in the room and you're like, man, this fly, it's not going to kill me. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, man. And then the fly keeps circling around you. And especially you're like,
half of their guys.
Yeah. Then you have like the fly, lands on you a couple times. And you're like, man, I got to kill this fly. I think they want to kill this fly. And that fly being AEW.
Yeah. I think every time they see an ex WWE guy go all elite, it's cringe more than fear.
Yeah, because in the back of their mind, minus probably a couple people, they're like, they didn't work out here for a multitude of reasons. Good luck.
Yeah.
There's the FTRs, there's the Danielson, there's that's about it that I could think of.
We can't even say Claudio yet because he's still the new toy.
And Claudio has said nothing but nice things about WWE. He's not one of those who's bashed them. Minus FTR and Danielson, WWE had issues with almost every other person that signed from being released or contract not renewed by WWE, and they jumped to AEW. Tony Storm walked out of the company.
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy
walked out
of the company. Matt Hardy, they just let his contract lapse. Why? Because he's past his prime. I love Matt Hardy, but it's not the same.
No.
The Christian thing befuddles me still to this day. Why Christian decided to sign with AEW. But I think if Christian knew, oh, WWE is going to go TV 14, he would have signed with WWE.
Giving that man a live mic on TV 14 is terms for entertainment.
This is great news. I'm sure we'll have people that don't think it's great news.
I was gonna say, what do you think people will bitch about now about WWE? Because
now the work rate and the match rate won't be as good, because remember back in that era the matches were very bland and they were very generic and this and that. And like that, no, not everything is the same. Like the wrestlers themselves are more athletic, right? The matches are more entertaining. There's more like showmanship, which sometimes to me that's not all that a good match makes. Like I think storytelling and all of that goes into it. So if you can combine the TV 14 element, which you could tell edgier, more teen to adult oriented storylines, and mix that in with the work rate, I think we have a recipe for better programming.
You're going to see ratings spike on Monday with this news breaking.
Do you think we get DX opens Raw?
That would be interesting.
Do you think Vince McMahon opens Raw?
Making fun of himself?
Remember, he ushered in pretty much the Attitude Era. Can we see it again? Do we get a branding of this era of WWE?
I think we'll get a Triple H intro welcome.
It would be awesome to see the first superstar that comes out, or superstars, after this announcement.
Yeah.
My money is that Cody will be at Raw next Monday.
You think?
Yes.
As via satellite, or
no, he'll be there
at Raw.
He'll be at Raw.
Because he's still got time.
He's got plenty of time.
He's still got a lot of time.
This was more to talk about than the three things we talked about earlier combined. So happy that this dropped today. Happy that we were able to coordinate to record this. And we're going to add this to the back end of the show, and I'm excited.
It's going to be awesome.
First time in a while, I'll be excited to watch Raw. I mean, it's routine for me to watch it or at least have it in the background, but I will at least pay attention.
Yeah.
To see, hey, like, where's these storylines going? Are they edgier? What are they doing? With that being said, comment, subscribe, like, tell a friend,
share.
We love you as per usual. Good night and good luck.
Peace.
Peace out.